Okay, welcome everybody to our second webinar session for Q2, A Day in Life Counselor. Thank you for joining us today. I've got myself, Peter, with sales and marketing, and Maggie, part of support. Today, we're going to be walking you through a typical day in the life from the perspective of a counselor. Just a quick introduction here. Reiterate, like we do every single time, what our purpose is here at EMHware is to make your lives as our partners and clients easier. Changing processes, making sure that our software platform has the best capabilities for our clients, so you guys can focus on exactly it is what you do, which is helping people. Just wanted to reiterate our summer schedule for the next two sessions. So previously we've done the presentation or webinar from the perspective of a intake coordinator, and that you can find on our YouTube channel. Today we are looking at the counselor perspective, and the next two sessions we're going to be looking at the program manager and executive director. So we're kind of moving up the line that way. There's also going to be some summer content which is in progress, so keep an eye out for that, and you will be getting invitations to that shortly. Today, we're going to be covering a few more modules than last time. If you're not seeing these modules in your instance of EMHware and you'd like to explore a little bit further, please reach out to myself or support, and we can talk to you or your organization about potentially getting these modules onto your EMHware. But we're looking at the core system, which is involving appointments, case notes, the dashboard, and case data. Some additional modules that we're looking at today, which is the client portal, telehealth, which I think everyone is definitely going to be interested in, the call log, which is one of our newer ones, billing/contract module, and goal planning, which is also fairly new. Again, if you're not seeing these modules in your own instance of EMHware and you want to learn more, please reach out to us and we can again talk to your organization and yourself. Awesome. With that, I will leave it with Maggie to walk us through.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, everybody. My name's Maggie, and I'm a counselor at EMH Child and Family Services. And I'm going to take you through how I use EMHware on a daily basis. So right from my dashboard calendar, I can see I have 4 appointments scheduled for today. So I'll open those up to check out what I've got going on. My first appointment this morning is an intake assessment. I can see this appointment is taking place at the office, and I can see it's checked off here that the client will be bringing their parent or guardian with them. Since this is an intake assessment, I know that means it's a new client. So before our appointment happens, I'm going to publish a consent form onto this client's portal for either the client or her parent to sign. So I'll choose our consent to service case data form. I want to publish it to the client's portal, and I want to make it accessible by both the client and her mother. I also want to make it editable in the portal so that the client or her mother can fill it out and sign it as needed. I can see this form also requires my signature, so I'll sign it, date it, and then save it to the portal for this client. Since we'll be doing an intake assessment with this client, I'll also get our intake assessment form ready. This is a new client. I don't know much about her. I don't know what her presenting issues are, so I'm just going to select our basic intake assessment form. However, we could have as many different assessments or templates that we needed added to EMHware as case data forms. I also want to publish this one to the portal, again, for both the client and her mother to see. However, I'm not going to make this one editable because I just want the client to be able to review the information and not change or add anything to it. So once my client comes in, I'll go through the intake assessment form with them. When I'm done filling it out, I can save it. And we can take a look at what the client would see when they log into the portal. So the client can see any of their upcoming appointments on their calendar. If we head into the form section, we can see the consent form. I'll open it up and sign it as the client. We can also see that intake assessment form that was completed, where we can review all of the information that was entered. Back to my view as the worker, I can open up the consent form and see now that it's been signed by the client. And then once my appointment is completed, I'm going to go ahead, add my case note, and I can resolve this appointment, which marks it as completed and turns it into a contact for me. Back to my list of appointments for the day, I can see next up I have a group session. Looks like we'll be doing some group therapy at the office this morning. All the clients that are part of this group have been added to the appointment for me. I can easily mark anyone as absent who doesn't show up and make note of that in their file. Everyone else was there today, so I'm going to leave them marked as present. And we also allow for anonymous clients to drop into these group sessions. So clients who maybe don't want to give us their name or their information, we won't add them into EMHware as clients. I'm just going to use this anonymous clients field to indicate that there were 4 of these anonymous clients that showed up today. I can add in my group case note, which is going to automatically populate into each of the client's files. And I'm also going to add in some individual case notes for any client-specific things I want to add. And when I'm done all of my case notes, I will save this and also resolve this appointment to complete it. Next up, it looks like I have an individual counseling session. This one's in our fee-for-service program. And it looks like this one's going to be taking place at the client's residence. So before I head out to this client's residence, I'm going to open the client's file and use this Google Map It link next to the client's address to look up where they live, make sure I know where I'm going. I can also see on the appointment here that this client is going to owe $150 for this session. If the client pays during the session, I can easily record that client transaction right here on the appointment. I can record my transaction date. I'll use this transaction type dropdown to record the method of payment. And I'll enter the amount that the client paid. I have also been working with this client on a goal plan. So I'll open up the client's goal planning section and take a look at their goal plan. while I was with this client today, they actually informed me that they completed their last 2 action items in their goal plan. So I'm going to mark those as completed as of today. And now that the client has completed all of their action items, they've actually achieved their goal. So I'm going to change the status of this goal from in progress to achieved. And back at the office, I'll update my case note to reflect that. And resolve this appointment once it's been completed. Now it looks like I'm actually getting a phone call. So this is an unscheduled call that I'm getting. So I'm going to record this in our new call log module. So we'll open up our call log, do a new one, and mark this as an in progress incoming call. This call actually happens to be from one of my existing clients. So I'm going to tie him to this call log record so it will populate into his file. And I actually ended up spending about 20 minutes doing some counseling over the phone with this client. The client told me he would call back later in the week to schedule a formal session. So I'm just going to make note of that here. Save this. And actually, before I had time to complete this call log record, I got pulled away to help with another client that just came in. So later in the day when I have some free time, I'm going to use my call log search to search for any call log records of mine that are still in progress to make sure I follow up on any calls that I need to. I can see just my one call with my client Tom earlier showing up. Quickly review that. I can see there's nothing else I need to do at this time. So I'm going to change the status of it from in progress to closed. Back to my list of appointments for the day. I can see my final appointment is another individual counseling session. However, this one is a telehealth appointment. So I'm going to use EMHware's telehealth module to connect with this client and do our counseling session over telehealth. I'm going to start the telehealth call. When I do that, it's going to send my client an email with a link that they can use to join the session. I'm going to stop my Zoom video so I can start my telehealth. We'll wait for our client Peter to join the telehealth session. There he is. From telehealth, I can toggle my video, my audio. I have the option to share my screen. I can also toggle Peter's video and audio. And I can chat with him. I can also add case notes right here through the telehealth module. So the client can't see these case notes. And when I save this, it's actually going to populate that case note into the contact that gets created in this client's file. We can also switch over to Peter's view so we can see what things look like from the client's perspective. We can see Peter can do the same thing, toggle his audio and video. He can share his screen, or he can chat with me. And then Peter has the option to leave the session. Or I can end the session on my end. Once I end the telehealth session, I can see in my appointment that the call has been completed. And I can see the case note that I entered has populated here into the contact for me. And I think that's it for me today. Thanks for coming along to see how I use EMHware. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A, and I will hand things back over to Peter.
Awesome, Maggie, great job. There are a few questions here that are coming up. There's 4 questions, one from Robin about storing files over 7 years. And is there a way to make files confidential so only counselors can view them and not admin or intake?
So I would suggest reaching out to the support team in regards to storing files past 7 years, and they can work with you on some options there. As far as locking files, we do have a lockbox option, which I can show you. So the lockbox would allow you to deny any workers from having access to a client file. So I can use the lockbox here to add workers either to the deny list, which would restrict them from seeing the client, or if it's a super sensitive file, alternatively, you can deny all workers and only approve a few.
Perfect. Another couple questions here. Does the contact form need to be unauthenticated for the client to be able to sign within the portal?
The case data form, yes.
Perfect. Awesome. And when we're filling out the contact on the call log, when they call you, is that automatically creating a case note in the client's file as well?
Yes, so if you attach it to an existing client, it will populate into their file. You can also use the call log to record calls with other people who are not existing clients.
Definitely. Awesome. And I think just one more here question. When you're using the telehealth module, you're just connecting yourself and the client and any other participants, not any third parties. Perfect. And the final thing, these modules, they can all be turned on within your instance of EMHware. They do come at an additional cost, but we can definitely work with your organization to see if we can fit it in within your budget and your funding. A couple more questions here actually popping up now that I'm reading through. The videos are free, Carrie. The links that you're seeing are just coming to an old channel. So if you email me, I can actually send you the existing links to the new channel. Sarah, locking specific aspects of a client's file. For an example, if the client wants only their clinical counseling notes, but not the case management notes.
So things can also be restricted based on program. So you can have a program that's restricted with only a few workers having access to it, and then you can put those notes in that restricted program.
Perfect.
And again, if you reach out to the support team, they can help set that up with you and walk you through how that all works.
Excellent. And our retention period for files is 7 years, it's on standard.
So EMHware actually doesn't have one. There's no time period for how long they're kept. But again, reach out to support team and they can help you with some options there.
Perfect. And just I have a question here from Laura. Using critical in the critical checkbox in case notes, how would we use that?
So all that does is it puts a little flag next to the case note on the list of them. So if I indicate this note is critical, in my case note search, I can now see that little critical flag. So you can use that however you think it would be best, just to kind of give workers an indication that there is a critical note in the client's file.
So essentially the definition is up to the organization.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that just serves as a flagging function for now. Awesome. So I think those are all the questions. We got through all of them. That's perfect. If you guys have any other questions, definitely reach out to support or myself and we'll do our best to answer. Yeah, the modules are available. You know, we definitely encourage all of our partner organizations to use EMHware to its full potential. That's why we kind of run these sessions as well, is to kind of show what else is available within the platform. And even if it's just an initial conversation, you know, definitely reach out to support or myself and we could talk with you and your organization about potentially getting these implemented on your instances. And like I said, we're always trying to develop new functions and new features to make your lives as easy as possible, so you don't have to switch between different softwares or, you know, kind of combine things to make it work. But yeah, I think we're finished today, Maggie. So thank you very much. Our next session is May 11th, looking at the program manager. Again, this video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So take a look out for that, along with all of our other videos as well. Content is growing slowly. And thank you again for your time this afternoon, and we'll hope to see you at the next one.
Thank you.